The richest woman in Africa?
I've never really viewed myself as that. I've always viewed myself as an entrepreneur.
But you are still regarded Africa's richest woman. Very difficult to run away from that.
That has been said about me.
So that the lady you're seeing on the screen is a corrupt Nepo baby called Isabel dos Santos. She's from Angola. She is the daughter of the, I think, former president of Angola who ruled the country for decades. And during that ruling, basically stole for decades. Now, this lady here is, I don't know if she's delusional or what the issue is, or it's just arrogance. She was once considered the richest African. She was a billionaire, obviously through stealing, because, that's how the leaders roll. And BBC recently did an interview with her, and she's basically thinking like she earned, like it's merit based, her wealth, even though now her assets are frozen. But let's get right into the video. Please consider liking and subscribing, and back to the video.
But I'm also my country's largest private employer. I've created over 200,000 jobs. I've been one of my country's largest taxpayers and contributed the most to build Angola's economy.
How much access do you have to money right now?
Oh,
How much
you'd
money?
be surprised because it is something that I will not answer the question, not because I do not wish to answer, but truly because it's not something that I find relevant. It's not really a piece of information that I go and I look into.
2016, your father appoints you to be in charge of the Angolan state oil company, Sonangol. Of all the people in Angola who could have been qualified for this particular job, why did your father choose you?
If you look at the oil prices, there's a historic drop, very, very significant drop in 2014 and 15 that created a ripple effect into the Angolan oil sector, making it very, very difficult for Angola to raise money from oil as it used to before. I was invited by the Ministry of Finance, the Minister of Finance, to provide some advice, some strategic advice
Why you?
on
Did you have some sort of
why me.
understanding of the oil industry? Were you an oil expert? Were you an expert in oil and gas?
So I have a particular knowledge of turning around companies, of taking companies that are not doing well, that have a difficult time and need to be more efficient, and to drive them to efficiency. And this is what they were looking for.
There's only one.
So basically, long story short, she was not qualified. Like, she does not even realize through her answers she's basically answering the question. She's not qualified. She's a Nepo baby who, she says that I was appointed by my father through her own words, and then she probably thinks she was the most qualified Angolan to take the reins there. So this lady, I believe now she lives in, I don't know, Dubai, but she was a billionaire. And let's look backstory. We're gonna go back to the video real quick, but let's look at how this lady was spending her money back in the days. Well, this is just an old article from the UK. So, African autocrat's daughter, Isabel dos Santos, revealed as the owner of £13 million land and mansion. And you can see her there with Paris Hilton and this other celebrity from Pussycat Dolls. I forgot her name. And she was just hanging around celebrities, like spending the billions and billions of dollars from that her father stole from Angola. The people of Angola, majority are suffering, but she's out there in Europe hiring all the celebrities, going to events with them, living life to the fullest. So this article from Al Jazeera really summarized her fall from grace, if you call that grace, using stolen money as grace. So she was the first female billionaire, But now at least the UK and other countries imposed sanctions on her. So hopefully she's kind of feeling the effects of the sanctions. But with these billionaires, corrupt people, they normally just stash their money in foreign governments. Some will never be found. So her father passed away, was the president. Her mother, I think, was Russian. And she basically, okay, so her father was the second president of the Portuguese colony. And he ruled for 38 years until he passed away in 2022 at 79 years in Barcelona, Spain. That's what normally happens with these African leaders. They don't fix the healthcare of their country or whatever, and then when they get sick, they take the plane, they go abroad for healthcare, leaving their country. So if you can't afford good healthcare, there's no logic there. You steal money instead of improving your country, all for yourself. When you get sick, you cannot even be treated in your own country, and you are the president. You go and die in another country. That's, man. So, when Angola was in civil war, this lady was studying in private schools in the UK. Think about that. Her father steals money. They are in a civil war. Meanwhile, she's in the UK. Private schools. I guess this is what the UK would say. People from UK would say, "Are you taking a piss?" Are you taking a piss? Because really, it's ridiculous what's happening. So she's enjoying private education in the UK, and they're stealing all this money. She's buying properties in the UK, and they own Angola. Her husband died in 2020. Her husband was, I think, Congolese, also mixed race and super rich guy. High chances was from corruption. I don't know much about her husband, but I do know the focus was on her because she was having the title of the richest African. I think she was $3 billion or more. Right now she lives in Dubai and United Arab Emirates, and all she does is post on social media like an Instagram model, posting her life when the people are suffering in her country. The UK froze $700 million of her assets. Those are the assets that they could find. US sanctioned her. Angola tried to freeze some of her. Portugal. She's as corrupt as they come. Look up corruption. You're gonna see her. They are smiling, all happy, thinking that she's merit-based. Let's go back to this interview. Actually, I like the interview. He really grilled her.
One way to ask you this question: have you ever used government funds for personal enrichment?
No, I have not. My companies haven't been.
Look, she even wants to laugh when she's answering, "No, I have not," because she knows everything about her is fake. She's a thief. She should be locked up and the key thrown away somewhere in the middle of the ocean.
Funded by the Angolan government. I've never received subsidies by the Angolan government. I've never received a state loan. I've never received a state grant. I haven't never received state funding to build my businesses.
Why is the government saying that you did? And please don't say it's a political witch hunt.
Of course it is. I think President Lorenzo.
That's the face of a frustrated African dad. It's really, do you think I was born yesterday? This woman is just lying there laughing at the expense of millions. And this guy is not having it. He's done.
Didn't stay true to the political party's views, and he started blaming the past saying that everything that happened before him was bad and everything that's going to happen with him would be good. But he himself is from the MPLA. He was the vice president of the party. He was minister of defense. His wife was minister of economy. And if anything, I think he had a lot more to do with the Angolan economy and the Angolan decision making and the political decision making than most Angolans. The freezing order came as an ex parte. Ex parte means just all of a sudden, without you knowing, secretly, your assets are frozen. We've been waiting 5 years to start this court case. And please bear in mind that this is a civil freezing order, so it's not even a criminal freezing order.
Why would the government of Angola, Portugal, and the UK say that your business associates are mired in corruption and then all freeze your assets? Are you saying they were colluding, that Downing Street was colluding with Luanda?
Portugal and Angola have a treaty that's called the CPLP, so it's a treaty of Portuguese-speaking countries. And any decision that Angola makes, any judgment or any decision, gets implemented by Portugal without it looking whether the decision has merits or not. So because there is a treaty, if Angola orders, Portugal automatically then executes a freezing order. As to the UK, I think that definitely the decision was wrong. It wasn't completely unjustified as well. And I hope that I'm given the chance to clarify it. There was no due process. It was just a political decision.
Well, then if that's the case, why don't you allow yourself to be audited, prove the source of your income, because you $3 billion don't just come out of nowhere. Like, I don't know, were you running a crypto scheme or scam, or what was it? Where did you get the $3 billion? Because now she's saying that Angola is the one that is this political witch hunt, and then now all these other countries through treaties are also sanctioning her. But she's corrupt to the core. Like, these people, I don't understand, man. man, let's continue.
You understand governments are constantly trying to attract investors, so freezing assets of business people isn't an option for many governments. One would wonder why they do that to you.
Yes, I'm a leading investor in Angola. I still have my CEOs and companies are still running. I still employ over 10,000 people.
Bitch, you're not employing. Oh my God, sorry. I did not mean to curse, but I get frustrated when I hear idiots like this. Nepo baby, corrupt Nepo baby, who never would probably be, I don't know, not even working at a McDonald's if it was just based on her own. But she thinks it's merit based. She was given everything from her name, her wealth, and everything by her father, but she's here trying to play pretend that I am the one who's employing all these people, I'm the one doing all this and all that. Oh man, gonna give me ulcers.
I'm still one of the largest taxpayers. Over 15 million people watch my TV network. The telecom company I built is still the largest telecom company in Angola. But in Angola, my case, it's definitely a case of political persecution. There's no doubt about that. I think the Angolan public opinion is aware of that. And hopefully one day it will become even more clear.
I wonder if you'd understand that our listeners will see you as one of the richest women in Africa, and your country one of the poorest, and they'll remember that your name is Isabel dos Santos and say, aha, President's daughter.
Yes. Now, you mentioned something very interesting. You say that my country is one of the poorest. I have to say that Angola is the first or the second largest oil producer in the continent. And there are many businesses and many business people that make money in Angola. I think that opportunities in Africa are for Africans. Opportunities in our continent are
And it
for
helps
us.
if your father is the president.
By virtue of the family that I'm born to, yes, I'm more exposed to the world, to people. I get better network. I get better contacts. That's true.
And you get all the corruption money. Like, this woman is as delusional as they come. I don't know if the richer you become, the more delusional you become also. Is it correlated? Like, what's this we're watching here? This woman is basically trying to tell us She earned it. Even if you're telling her that some Angolans are suffering, she's like, oh well, some are making money, because she's in this bubble. She's living in a bubble. She's lived in a bubble all her life. She probably believes she's like a princess or something. They should freeze all her assets, try to recover the money. I know they've stashed billions and billions elsewhere in offshore accounts, but this can't keep on happening. Hundreds, well, I don't, probably all, so many politicians in Africa just do this. Instead of helping your country, you take all the taxpayers' money, you use it for your family. Your family, even generations, they don't even have to work because of the money you stole. And then you build this huge fence around yourself to keep the poor people away. When logic, if you use the logic, it would be better to improve everybody's life, so you won't even have to build fence. You won't have to walk with security everywhere because you're afraid poor people are going to steal from you. But there is no logic here. You just make yourself fat. You eat like a pig. You steal people's money. You take your daughters, your sons to the UK and other countries to get the best education. And then when you finally get sick and it's time for you to die, like all of us are gonna end up dead, you run to UK or you run abroad for healthcare because your country, there's no healthcare. Like, what's wrong with these people? Like, is this world upside down or what?
I have to
Right.
recognize that. But those are contacts, networks, opportunities. Then how do you go and you implement that? How do you go and then develop that? Are you able to build something out of that? And especially if it's in the private sector, then that's already on your shoulders. So I've, on purpose, I guess, chosen to always work in the private sector where there's competition with these other players. So I don't work in a monopoly market. I did not work with government contracts. I was not a supplier to the government. I was not a supplier to the state.
Do you sometimes just wish you'd been an engineer or a teacher?
No, no. Look, I think I'm a pioneer. I'm doing something that's difficult. It's fairly recent that we start getting entrepreneurs in the continent. And I started working in 1996, 97, 98. In those days, you didn't even hear about those things. And I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I was part of the transformative, positive change in Africa to create African businesses owned by Africans. And what I would like to do is to see more of it. I like young people, young Africans to do the same, and that our opportunities stay with us, stay in our land, and that we create jobs for us, Africans in Africa.
So she's here telling us create jobs for Africans in Africans when she's doing the interview in Dubai or somewhere else. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, this lady is in abroad, Dubai, telling this journalist that she was a pioneer. I don't know, she's this great person in her mind. She created jobs, and Africans, young Africans, should create jobs for Africans in Africans. When she's in Dubai, posting like an Instagram model every time. At her age, she's in her 50s. Like, oh my goodness, I can't. I'm not even gonna finish this interview, man. Like, it's too depressing. Please consider liking. Wait. Before, let me see if there's some comments here. Okay, wow, that reporter threw no softballs and asked those questions direct. Yeah, the reporter was great. I cannot be a reporter because I would be losing my mind on these people lying straight to my face. She said she went to private sector where it's competitive. Lady, there's no competition when you're the president's daughter. Yeah, she has everything handed to her and she's there. As an Angolan citizen, I know that this interview will never be fully translated by the Angola media. Well, makes sense. She said that she also owns like a TV station, so I don't think a TV station is gonna be telling the people I'm a corrupt Nepo baby. But anyway, please consider liking, subscribing. See you on the next one and share on all the networks. See ya.
Oh my goodness, all the networks! Wow! All the networks!